All right, continuing with our 5-1 to 5-2 sample quiz for number 12, we have another one that they're asking us to sketch the graph and identify some things about it. All right, so to begin with, we want to know our end behavior. So we want to know how it starts and how it stops. But remember that there are lots of ways that we can express that. So instead of saying how does it start or stop, they might say, tell us the end behavior of the function as x approaches negative infinity. Okay, so here's x right here. So if I'm going off to negative infinity, that's this side over here, right? That's where the graph starts. If it says x approaches positive infinity, then that's going off to positive infinity over here. And so that's going to be where my graph stops. So again, another way that they might ask us that. So remember that your leading coefficient tells you how your graph is going to end. And so my leading coefficient is negative. So I know that it's going to end going down. So as x is going off to positive infinity, my graph is going to go down. And then as x approaches a negative infinity, or as it goes off this way, we want to know how it starts. Well, since the degree is even, it's going to start and stop in the same direction. So that means that it's going to start and stop down. Okay, how did we know its degree was even? All right, well, if you'll notice, this is x to the first, x to the first, x to the first, x to the first. So if you do x times x, that's x squared times x is x cubed times x is x to the fourth. All right, so the degree of this is 4. It is even, so it starts and stops in the same direction. All right, then the maximum number of times it can turn is always 1 less than its degree. So that would be 1 less than 4. That would be 3. And then they asked us for our x-intercepts. So remember, x-intercepts are solutions, roots, zeros. So I can just put 0 in the place of y and solve this. All right, so if I set y equal to 0, so I put 0 in for y and set that equal to that equation. I'm going to set each of those equal to 0. So 0 doesn't equal -2. I can toss that. But x minus 4 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So that gives us solutions of 4, -3, -1, and +2. So up here on my graph, I've got -3, -1, and then 2, and then 4. So we said it's going to start down and it's going to turn 3 times. So notice that each one of these is a single root. So we're going to go straight through. So we're going to go straight through at -3, turn to come back to our x-intercept at -1, turn to come back to our x-intercept at +2, turn to come back to our x-intercept at +4. So notice again that we're not actually plotting points to figure out how high these go or how low this goes. This is just a sketch. So you do need to have the appropriate end behavior and the number of turns and the x-intercepts, but you don't have to actually plot points to come up with the heights on that graph since it's a sketch.